Hey VC, how you doing? This is Christian down here in Santiago, Chile, doing an entry to a new contest that has been announced a couple of days ago. It's from a good friend, Todd, the Thrashing Zombie. He has reached 525 subscribers, so he decided to put this really cool contest to celebrate that big milestone in his channel. So congrats to Todd. If you don't know him, he's a really fun and cool guy. He a couple of days ago finished, a couple of weeks ago, he finished doing a series on his favorite albums from the last 50 years. So it really took a long time to complete that task. But now he's doing this really cool contest. And three simple questions. Question number one, of course, I'm going to put them in the description of the video, so you can also do an intro contest. First one is show up five bands, five of your favorite bands. It can be from different type of music, different styles, different genre. Doesn't have to be just one. So I'm going to show a mix of things I like. Of course, I'm not going to show the big name that you already know that I like very much. So that's why I have decided to show these other five bands that I think are really cool. A couple are not exactly in the hard rock or heavy metal side of music. The first one is one I like very much too. Two I like very much. They are from the 80s. They had the big heyday. One in the early 80s and another one mid 80s and of course in the 90s. But unfortunately, both bands are not active anymore. First one is for this one of the biggest pop bands, pop rock band from Australia is In Excess. This is the biggest album. This is Kick. And I think this is one of the biggest it's almost like you can almost listen to this album as a greatest hits. I remember listening to the previous album, I listened like Thief, and I thought, oh, that New Sensation song is really good. And no, sorry, no, right now I can't remember the name of that song. But it's really cool. But when this album came and New Sensation was put on the radio, it was really cool. And listening to this band, you almost can't escape to this band. This album you can almost listen to it as the greatest hits. New Sensation, Devil Inside, Need You Tonight, Mediate, Love Will Tear Us Apart, Mystify, all great stuff. Unfortunately, we lost Michael Hutchins a long time ago, and I think he's really missed in the music industry. So there he goes, In Excess and Kick. Another one that I have shown a couple of times, and I like them very much because of the kind of music and the way they approach different styles of music. In their sound was the Police. This is Senjata Montata, a great album done by this one of the best trios in that had ever came from the UK. Great stuff. The do the da. When the world is tumbling down, Don't Stand So Close to Me, Driven to tears, Everything You Do Is Mad. Everything is really good in this album, and I think everything the Police did in their very short career is really good. So that's another one, not from the heavy metal side or hard rock side of music, but here it goes, The Police. Next one is one classic band that I like very much. Of course, is AC/DC. And to me, this AC/DC represents the fun side of hard rock. I think there you can almost start any party putting any AC/DC album, and you will have a blast as in a barbecue, by the swimming pool, driving through the car, having a good time with your friends. And man, you really need AC/DC in your life if you want to have a good time. So there it goes, AC/DC. Next one is this one is the biggest name in heavy metal in Spanish. They are a band from Spain. I discovered them in the early 80s. This is their biggest album, and it's Barón Rojo. This is their biggest album to now in sales and in promotion, and the big influence this album had here in Latin America back then, because it was the first time that we ever, or at least I ever listened to a heavy metal band sang in Spanish. This is 82. This is their album that they also record in English. Back then, when I was going to the record store with my mom, and she asked me what album I wanted to pick, I immediately picked this album. And when I brought it home, I put track number 1, and then I realized this is the English version. I don't know if you can see the track list is everything sang in English. Of course, it's kind of rough listening to these guys singing in English, because they have a very, very heavy Hispanic accent, Hispanic from Spain. It's really, really heavy on some vocals. They and even in some consonants, they when they sing in English, it's really funny. But it's a really good album if you don't know this album and you want to try and listen to classic heavy metal. There's a CD version that has both versions. One first in Spanish and then in English. They are put together in just one disc. The only thing that it doesn't have is repeated twice is the last track. It's because it's an instrumental. The Barón flies over England, or El Barón vuela sobre Inglaterra. So if you can track that, try to find that CD, it's really good. Or otherwise, please look after the English or the Spanish version of Barón Rojo, Volumen Brutal. And finally, this is a band that started in the late 80s. It was a really cool surprise hearing this awesome band, because the 4 musicians that were in the early inception of the band and in the later album came from a very different background, and back then we weren't very used to have black artists or African American artists, as you say there in the States. And it was really cool hearing them for the opening track for Cult of Personality. That's an awesome album. That's Vivid and Cult of Personality. The opening track done by Bernard Reed is a great album. This is the last 2 albums they put together. This is from 2017. This is Shade. Unfortunately, they haven't put out anything new since then. It's been 8 years so far. They seems to be working trying to put something new. I have also read that Frank Bello is working or doing some stuff with the guys from Living Color. I don't know if that thing they are doing together is going to be submitted to Anthrax, or is going to be on the next Living Color album. But this is a great album, a good mixture of hard rock, with a lot of funk, soul, even rhythm and blues, and sometimes some hip hop, and even some electronics on their previous album. This is a really good one. Please don't look over this one. This is Shade, kind of dark down here. And if you want to know what's the last thing that Living Color ever did, this is the one you should look after, this Shade from Living Color. So that's question number 1. Question number 2 is talk about or name 2 bands people like but you can get into, and there are so many bands that I can talk about that I don't like, or I just don't get it, or I don't understand what's the big deal about them. One is Ghost. Sorry, but I cannot understand all the hype about Ghost. To me, it's a gimmick. It's death metal for housewives. I don't know. I really can understand what's so cool about them. Maybe because they got validated when you saw James Hetfield wearing a t-shirt, a Ghost t-shirt, and everybody thought, oh, that band should be good. I agree they have some catchy tunes. There's something unique and very cool about them. But sorry, I can't understand what's the hype about them. And another one that I can get into is or was Jack White and the White Stripes. Sorry, I can get into that guy. I don't know why he's considered the new messiah for rock. He's the guy that's going to save rock. I don't know why. I don't even like his tone. His when he sings, I think he's too nasally for my taste. Even in the White Stripes, I kind of like a couple of songs, but I can also understand why they are so important. And I thought it was mind blowing when they as a band got inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's another complete thing. That's a thing that really I don't know. It's not the kind of thing I gravitate to when I listen to music. So those are two of the many bands that people seems to like or enjoy very much, but I can get into. And the last question, I think that Todd asked us to complete or to show is 5 artists that has been in 2 or more bands and that at least have put out or released more than 2 albums with those bands. So first of all, I'm going to start with an artist that unfortunately is no longer with us. He's been in these 2 really cool bands, and I'm talking about Fast Eddie Clarke. And of course, he was first in Motorhead, and then he was in his band with what's supposed to be Fast Eddie and Pete Way, but for legal issues, Pete Way couldn't get off his contract he had with Chrysalis, so he couldn't join Fast Way and to record and be in the band. So there goes Fast Eddie Clarke, Motorhead, and Fast Way. Next, I'm going to go with this guy. This is John Bush, of course, best known as the lead singer and current singer of Armored Saint, but and also the lead singer in the 90s for Anthrax. This is the only thing I have that he did with the band. Sorry, it's the Greater of Two Evils. Those are live recordings of classic Joey Belladonna and Neil Turbin songs done by Anthrax with John on lead vocals. It's a good one. Of course, nothing can touch the original stuff. This is one of his albums with Armored Saint. This is Delirious Nomad. So number 2. Number 3. Of course, a good buddy Dio, Ronnie James Dio, with his solo band. Of course, Dio. Of course, he fronted one of the many incarnations of Black Sabbath. Sorry about the glare. There it goes. This is Dehumanizer, and of course, with Richie Blackmore in Rainbow. There it goes. Dio. Next, we have Sammy Hagar. Here we have Sammy Hagar with Chickenfoot. Chickenfoot 1, 3, and 55. I don't know why they have to be so smart to do that thing. We have Sammy Hagar with Joe Satriani, Chad Smith, and Michael Anthony. This is a 3-CD box set. It goes 2 studio albums and 1 live one. And of course, with Van Halen, this is his last studio album with the band. This is Balance. Of course, he's been in Montrose and other bands, but these are 2 of his most famous ones. If you put it, this one, and of course also Montrose, but I don't have any Montrose, so there it goes, Sammy Hagar. And the last one, is Michael Schenker. Here we have Michael Schenker Group, MSG, Macaulay Schenker Group, and of course UFO. You have a very young Michael Schenker. Wait, there it goes. A very young Michael Schenker. This is Lights Out, and this is Michael Schenker Group, their debut album. So there it goes. Those are my three responses to Todd contest. Please, I'm going to leave a link below so you can go and do an entry to Todd contest. It's a really fun one. It's a really easy one. The way I like my contest, fun, nice and easy. So that's it. This is Christian down here in Santiago, Chile. Say goodbye until next time.